Welcome to The Change Physician. I'm Melissa Cady, the Challenge Doctor, with my co-host from the West Coast, Dr. Kevin Cuccaro, on a Saturday Salutations for the Change Physician podcast. If you're seeing this on my feed on Challenge Doctor, it's just being cross-posted from our Change Physician Facebook page, which you feel free to go like, or you can go check out what the Change Physician's all about by going to thechangephysician.com, and you can join our community there if you're a physician or a physician ally. So if you're not a physician ally, I don't know what to tell them, Kevin.
No, I don't know what to tell them either.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm
Awesome.
like, I don't know if you can hear the background here, but oh, you can't hear it. I'm trying to blam it. Let me see, like, I can hear it. Oh, maybe you can't.
I hear something whispering. It's not very obvious.
Oh, that's Taylor in the background.
Yes. Did you
Taylor
go to her
Swift.
concert?
Oh my God, yeah. It was it was one of those crazy things. Like I liked Taylor before again. I think all of her albums are really good. My daughter is like a huge fan, and the whole thing started like last fall. This whole ticket thing, and she asked my wife could you get the tickets, make sure, because like all the kids were like ditching school, like leaving class to do this thing. And so needless to say, my amazing wife bought a couple tickets, and we're like, oh, we'll get a couple tickets, and if you want to take somebody, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Ultimately she decided to take me, which was super cool. And I went into it liking Taylor. Now I'm like, Taylor, like I'm such a Swiftie now. It was freaking insane. I mean, I can't even like I haven't been to a ton of concerts, but the big ones I went to were like and I always like the small venues more. They were like homey. Yeah. So we saw it up in Seattle, like 72,000 plus people, and the place is like rocking, there's 72,000 people there, and 70 plus thousand knew the lyrics to every single song. I was one of the few who didn't. I was embarrassed because my daughter said, like, here's the set list, you better learn this. Wow. And oh man, it was like apparently there was like seismic activity. I don't know if you saw it. They published it was like a 2.35 hour long earthquake both nights of the show.
Wow.
And just like an incredible performer. I mean, she played for almost 4 hours by herself. And she went through all the albums and the set changes. The set changes were probably less than 2 minutes, and they were super cool the way they did it. And she's announcing all these new dates, and I'm like, keep watching for tickets, because if they're gonna be back in like Vancouver and Canada next year, we're buying tickets and we're gonna go again, because it was freaking crazy.
Wow.
So, and an awesome crowd. Like everybody was super, super cool. Like all these young girls, and I saw this 9-year-old just going nuts with her family next to us, like just jumping, pounding, or singing everything. People got tears streaming down their faces. Like,
wow,
it was cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
I'm making a note for myself just to find out where she's playing. Maybe I'll just have to go. I mean, I've listened to her songs. I haven't been like a Swiftie fan person, but it doesn't take long if they're. I definitely feel like she has so much out there, and the energy. I know through my husband even, just that she's one of those people that, I mean, it's not just a handful of her songs. I mean, she is a marathoner when it comes to her concerts.
Yeah, I was trying to think about that. Like, there's some of the albums I like more than I like her later stuff better than her early stuff, but there's nothing I dislike. And the other thing that is, as an artist, which is amazing, is every era, like every album it's Swift, but she's growing as an artist. It's freaking crazy, like how good she is. Yeah. And as a I can't even, like, what she did during the show was amazing. And then you start reading about like, the way she treats her staff, and she just like she got like these $100,000 bonuses to all the truck drivers at the end of the tour, and then her dancers. And so, these are the type of people I like, right? Super successful, don't appear to have any ego about it, and then just appreciate everybody. And she's doing really well, and you just go. So yeah, it was intense, man. We had a great time. It was fun.
Well, that's the thing, I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole of medicine and how we're treating the people that are taking care of the people that need to be cared about. But if you take care of the people who are supposed to care, everyone wins.
Oh yeah.
And how people can't see this is just beyond me.
Well, I think it's the difference between short-term and long-term thinking, right? And this has a lot to do with like tribalism and kind of like how the brain's developed, right? Because there's a survival advantage to short-term thinking in the short term. Like if you got rabbit, I hit you on the head and knock your head out, steal your rabbit, kind of a deal. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, we work together, we can catch more rabbits, and we can have grow the village or whatever. And I think that's really the problem is we're constantly battling between the short-term selfishness and long-term, like, hey, we can build things together and create something amazing. And it's rough because I think we're sort of there's examples of people who are doing this long-term kind of thinking, but so much of the incentives are for the short-term nasty behavior, and then we incentivize it, and that's what we get. There is no, we've talked multiple times, if we return to the healthcare thing, like retain your doctors, make an environment that they're happy in, and you won't have to pay the 250 to 500 to whatever 1,000 plus to recruit a new one. If you're, and if you keep losing doctors, the first thing you should probably do is look at your practice environment. What are we doing here? But really not a lot of incentive, apparently.
Yeah. Don't, if you're going to be a great leader, don't be in your ivory tower and separate yourself from the reality, because your perception of what's important. And let me just give a really great example. Why would you put a sign of how many cases were accomplished, like numbers of cases done, to a staff that there's no incentives for them? It's harder work with higher volume, and you're not improving the situation or the work environment or understanding your staff. Like, why would you put a poster up that really is an extension of how well you're getting paid personally as a leader? No one gives a flying flip about the number of cases. It should be about the patients and the value and what the value creation you're giving your patients, and the great job you're doing to create amazing experiences and safety for your patients. But anyway, I digress.
This must not have been, this is a total hypothetical, right? This is not something
totally hypothetical.
Total hypothetical.
Yeah.
Like, look how great look how much money you're making me.
Yeah. But
and I'm treating you bad.
They can't see it. They don't even realize what they're doing. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't either. It is quite interesting.
Anyway, but, yeah. I felt like I had a Kevin moment right there where I just had to go off. Anyway, enough of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. People, know your people and take care of them and what matters to them. Don't just stay focused on what only matters. We're all guilty of it at some point in our life, but at some point in your grown-up life, you start realizing, you know what? You got to take care of your people. And like you said, Taylor Swift, as she's growing as a woman, as a human being, as an artist, and I don't know that much about her, if she's evolving in the right direction, everyone benefits along the way if you both treat, if all parties treat each other well. Like, it's a win-win.
Look, she's treated the fans well with an amazing, just put her heart and soul. I haven't seen any, like, now I'm like a super big fan, right? And she got me to use like Instagram, which I never used, just to like look through the reels, and you see all the reels of people going to these concerts. Yeah. And all of them, she just puts her heart and soul and everything. And then you think, okay, so now you're treating the fans well. And then she gets done with the tour and she treats her staff well. So next concert, do you think her next concert, what's going to happen with the next concert, right? People are going to go nuts. And she spent I think the production value was over $100 million for the tour. And then she gave over $55 million in bonuses, but the tour is expected to gross like 1 billion plus, right? So it's not like,
wow.
I don't know. Be the Taylor Swift of healthcare, I guess, is like the big thing. Treat everybody well.
There you go. We need that.
We need more Taylor Swifts, and we need less of. I'm trying to think of horrible people. Luckily, I can't think of any right now, so that's good.
like the guy that wants to charge, arm and a leg for insulin. That guy.
Oh, we're freaking, what's his name, Screely, or that other scumbag who took a $9 pill and went it to $750.
Yeah,
these people suck. They just suck so bad.
They suck. You know what? But
anyway. Yeah. Anyway.
Golly. Well, normally we pop on here and start talking about the podcast, but we, as usual in our ways, we go on a tangent. Let me just pull up what's been exposed in the podcast. Exposed via our episodes.
Decently exposed. I hope not indecently.
No, indecent. Let's see what we are now into August, believe it or not. So we've got just recently we had let's go. Actually, we'd mentioned him already. On the 27th, released Thursday Throwback, Dr. Sonali Reuter, emergency medicine physician, turned the foodie physician, brought that one back from episode 168. And then we just released an episode of health span versus lifespan where you and I discuss the differences there. Any comments?
No, but I was just thinking about that one again today, actually.
Yeah,
I know. I don't, because it's as I get chronologically older, obviously, I think most of us do that. I've become really more attentive to my health. I mean, my only regret is I'm like, I should have done this like 30 years ago, but it's just super interesting because you start seeing people and you can see the people that are like living and you see the people who are not dying. And there's a huge big difference between the two. And I don't know, like, I don't know. So I'm working really hard. I really am happy working really hard. I got some huge goals. One of my like joys in life is my workouts now. And the whole goal is just to live healthier longer so that I'm living and not dying. So anyway, I thought it was a good episode.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like when we're younger, our resilience to the things we do to our bodies is a little bit better. But at midlife, we start realizing, we're not going to be able to get away with that as easily. So
I think I said that in the episode. It's like I think the younger bodies know you're too stupid when you're young to take care of them, so they do the job. And then as we get older, now we have to be more conscious about taking care of the body that did such a good job when we were younger and didn't know any better. Now we know better. So now it's our job to be very aggressive about taking care of our bodies.
Yeah. So our body's wisdom was there to protect us. Now we have to use this wisdom to protect it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, cool. Well, let's see. Since you mentioned Taylor Swift, I'll mention, my husband and I went to a concert, believe it or not, our first one since the pandemic, to see Michael Franti. I don't know if you know Michael Franti.
I do not.
It was in a smaller venue. It was thousands of people there, but at the ACL Live, Austin City Limits Live, Moody Theater. It's not we went to the wrong Moody. There's a couple Moody theaters, but this was the one downtown. But Michael Franti, Franti, has been for decades been doing music. And my husband had come across him in the past. I think it was Michael Franti and Spearhead at the time. But his music is just really uplifting, positive, and so much fun. And he actually prefers not to wear shoes. Believe it or not, this guy's running around without shoes on. He only wears like these open sandals, I guess, when he's outside or places where he probably doesn't want to step on any glass or anything. But he literally gets engaged with he ran outside, went up the staircase, I guess, and then was on the third floor. There's like 3 levels. Goes up there and is giving people hugs and trading out the microphone for people to sing and just like high-fiving and hugging people left and right. Like it was awesome. He's awesome. But we did a VIP upgrade. So we're able to see him behind like literally behind the stage area, and he did 3 with a couple of his guitar guys, 3 songs, did a Q&A, ask anything, and very, very intimate kind of setting. And then we went back to our seats on like the nosebleed section, but we had a really good time. And he actually does a cruise. This is, I think, his second one. It's in November, and we're contemplating it, believe it or not. And it's called, I think, Sixth Man, SIXTHMAN.com, is like a cruise line, and they basically do concerts on the sea. So there's like multiple, it's not just Michael Franti. He has like, there's like a dozen other performers or artists. And so they have, this one's like a wellness slash, it's almost, it's like 3 nights, 4 days. And they're all kind of different setups. This one's not like all you can drink kind of thing. But everything else is pretty much provided. And you have like concerts, and then, have this meditation wellness stuff. I showed it to a friend, and she was like, oh, it's like tree hugger paradise. I was like, I don't know. I don't think of it as that. Nowadays, I don't think of yoga or meditation as like a totally like hippie kind of thing.
Well, it's definitely wellness. Both of those are like well attached with wellness.
Yes. But 20, 30 years ago, people think they're like, I think it's a little bit more mainstream now.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was just like, oh my gosh, dancing, 3 to 4 days straight, and immersed.
You should do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
So we're working out details to see about making that happen, and had to do the travel insurance because they're non-refundable kind of situations. But so he's got that. And then I found out he's got a resort in Bali, which looks amazing too. And he has like a, time where he has, he's performing there. But yeah, so it's called Soul Shine at Sea is, I think, the cruise, and then Soul Shine Bali is like the resort. So I was thinking in a few years that might be cool to go to Bali.
Yeah.
So
that would be cool.
Yeah. So really cool. And had to share that since we both did a concert.
Yeah. No, I have another thing to share too, since we're on this thing.
Good.
Let me see if I can you let me share?
Uh-huh.
Because I'm going to share a picture, because this is the other thing. It's summer here.
Okay, go ahead and try there.
Okay, share my. So can you see my?
Sharing? Yeah, look at all that.
So that's our island, and that's just our fruit from yesterday. So
from where?
So this is just our fruit that we bought this yesterday. So
you bought
these ones. I don't know if you can see the peaches on the bottom. Those are Red Havens. Those are local, and the reason they're kind of bruised like this is these are totally tree ripened. Like they are picked at the point of deliciousness. Wow. And if you've never had a tree ripened peach, you can never go back to having them. These are figs. We had 2 of these, but my wife plowed through them. These are apricots, really, because she made some really good apricot jam. I'm trying to convince her to make some more. This was 10 pounds of peaches, and these are I don't know how many donut peaches. I mean, yeah, cherries.
I was about to say, those are interesting peaches.
Yeah, and these are donut peaches. So all of these are from. There's a conglomerate of farms up in the Hood River area in the gorge. Okay. So they deliver down here. And then this is from our local people. And then this is from our CSA, and their vegetables back there. But I just had to share that because, man, I've kind of turned into this Oregonian, right? And I love where we live. And one of the things I absolutely love about the summer is our produce, and our fruit is freaking to die for. What you didn't see was the 20 pounds of blueberries that we had the week before that, and then we had another 10 pounds of I mean, it's insane. But you just start eating in season, right? It's like, and some people are like, oh, what on fruit? Why are you getting pleasure out of fruit? Because if you don't this fruit is so good, you just can't comprehend, if you haven't had good fruit, how good the fruit is.
Blueberry brain food. Huh? It's a blueberry brain food.
Oh man, yeah, the blueberries. I didn't even know anything about blueberries until we moved here. But there's different varieties of blueberries. I think I talked about this last year, probably because I always ran about this. So, like we've had blue crop, early blues, Spartans. We haven't done any Dukes yet because I think they the farm that we buy them from, they lost half the property. Well, they bought it from the previous owners and they couldn't buy the whole thing. So they lost like half of the farm. So it's become a little bit more scarce. But all these different blueberry varieties taste different. And like you probably wouldn't notice it unless you actually tasting them side by side, but it's super cool. Like, wow, this is, the Dukes are a little bit more floral than say the blue crop, and the blue crop are, I don't know, different than the early blues. And, but they're just like, again, it just completely ruins you because you can't buy food from the store anymore.
Oh, it's like night and day. Yeah.
And it's like, oh God, like I can buy frozen blueberries, but man, I don't like to buy anything else.
Yeah.
Just because the fruit's so good. Yeah. And it brings a ton of joy into my life. So I had to share that with everybody out there.
Yeah. That's really cool. That's one thing, we had contemplated, Oregon as being a place to live. And a lot of the appeal for me was just being able to grow things like you can't in 107, 109 degree weather over here. I mean, it's absurd. I mean, I literally had 50 bags of mulch that I'm putting in an area in our backyard because it just grows weeds, and they're just like these drought tolerant weeds and even the weeds that typically are drought tolerant are struggling in this heat. And I just threw down all this mulch before, it was getting hot today, just to kind of, control the little bit of weeds because I can't really grow anything in that spot. And, I don't want to have to pull weeds, almost 10 hours probably of weed pulling in my backyard just to keep it from looking like a forest of weeds, this spring and summer. But yeah, I would do much better in gardening in Oregon than here.
Let me tell you, if you want to garden, you should come here. You just throw stuff out, I think, outside. I think we have all these seeds now, all these cherry seeds and peach seeds and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, we should just throw them in the backyard and see what happens.
Yeah. I've done that with stuff that actually has survived here. I let them go to seed and let it dry, and I just crumble it up, and I threw a whole bunch in our little foresty part of the lot, and just going to see what shows up, in the next season. You never know. But if those things can propagate, that can, they can be food for the deer, or, just make it look a little bit better than dirt and just cedars, or ash junipers, whatever you want to call our trees here. But well, cool. Anything else you want to share with the audience? Look at us. We got our finger on.
I know. When did we? Has it been a while?
2 weeks?
Or did we? It's been a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah, I think a couple of weeks.
Okay, 2 weeks. And I wasn't supposed to be here today, but it was just I finally got so tired. I'm like, I don't want to drive anymore. Because then we were up in Seattle again. This is like we've been in Seattle like 3 times in 6 weeks. We had a friend get married. Actually, he was my kid's babysitter, and we're friends with his parents or whatever. And that was such a ball. Like that was last weekend, and it was so much fun. Like we all had just a great time. Like it was just, again, another situation. You got, things are gonna work well when you meet the friends. Like so they were my kid's babysitter. Those are like in their 20s or whatever. And we'd never met his now wife, but everybody at this wedding were most of them were their band people. They both went to Georgia Tech. That's where they met. And they were, the band culture. They have a heavy band culture, and just the nicest, I'm going to say kids, but they're all young. They're all not even young adults. They're all adults. Just the nicest people. Like everybody was so nice. I even had to tell them, I'm like, you guys have both have wonderful friends, and they're so nice. That obviously says just about everything you need to know about you too. Because I've been to the parents were nice, but I've been to weddings where you're just like,
watch out, drama.
One of the grandma, we were like, this was a long time ago. This is before I was married, and I went to this one wedding, and I'm like, they had a nice house. The grandma, they had the reception at the grandmother's house, and I'm like, oh, you have a beautiful house, and she goes, it is, isn't it? And I was like, well, you're a pleasant person, and needless to say, that couple actually is divorced. So I will use that as if people suck at your wedding, is probably a bad prognostic indicator on the success of a happy relationship. But anyway, this one everybody was great, and we had a great time, but it was really tiring. And so I canceled my plans this weekend because I was supposed to be gone this weekend up to the gorge. And I'm like, I can't drive anymore. I just need to stay home.
Need a break.
I need a little break, but
understandable.
And I had to see you, Melissa.
Yeah,
I need
I
some
know it's all
Melissa
about
time.
me.
It is. I need some Melissa time here. So
Well, it's good to always catch up with you. Well, I guess I don't know if we're going to be back together next week or the following week.
are you out next week?
No.
I'm here next week.
Okay. Well, then I guess we'll see everybody next Saturday. But you want to take us out for today?
Sure. Well, thank you all for joining us on another episode. Saturday Salutations to the Changed Physician. If you haven't had a chance yet, go and subscribe to Taylor Swift because she's awesome. Eat lots of delicious fruit as long as it is farm fresh and tree ripened. Have fun with your friends. Enjoy the concerts and the weddings and be cool to people. And until next time, stay well.
Take care.